ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Well, welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on Broadway World or over here on the Broadway Podcast Network. And all season long, we've been talking about the Tank. When I was an acting student in New York City, I learned that you have to go to the Tank. You need to see the Tank. You can afford a ticket at the Tank. You can see original new work at the Tank. It's where cool new work is made, and they made it accessible for everybody. So I root for the Tank, and I love everything about it. We're here to talk about Deadclass. So I am so curious and excited to talk and hear and know, what is this show? Why is there a bear? Is there a violin? What is happening in this show? I need to know. I need answers. So we have a whole crack staff here that knows all about the show. And while we're talking, you can go to thetanknyc.org. Chloe, Mitchell, Eliya, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thanks
Robert.
So much for having us.
Chloe, can you tell us what you do with the show?
I can. I perform in the show. I'm an actor, and I'm also co-directing with Mitchell.
And Mitchell, what do you do in the show? Obviously, co-direct.
I co-direct and also do sound and media.
Are you guys selling popcorn in the lobby too, and cleaning up after the show? You guys are.
We also choreograph.
I also choreograph. We
do a lot of
We do a lot of.
We all do a lot of different things.
And Eliya, what do you do in the show?
I co-created and wrote original text.
I feel like a lazy bum after talking to you all. Wow. Okay, so tell me, who had the idea? Eliya, did you have the idea? Did Mitchell have the idea? Chloe, did you have who had the idea?
I mean, it truly was a collaboration. We all came up with it together, and at various points along the development, each of us was sort of pulling it in different directions. I've never had an experience like this where it was so truly jointly created. I think the initial impetus came from when Mitch and I were in college. We got taken by our theater department on a trip to Poland, and we went to the Cantor Museum there. And we both got really interested in Cantor. And Chloe and Mitch have an amazing company that they run together, and we'd all worked together before. And then I think the other main artistic impulse came from being interested in Mitch and I are both from Ohio and have sort of different relationships to being Jewish from Ohio. And so we were interested in making something that had to do with that.
Amazing. Mitch, so is Deadclass Ohio, a dumb question, is it a real place?
No, definitely not. I would say it's loosely based off of a cross between Cincinnati and Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
But it's not a real place. It's sort of an imagined no man's land of Ohio, I would say.
It's a real place in the sense that it's the place of our theater piece.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a place, kind of.
So Chloe, explain how do you describe what this show is? What is this show about?
What is this show about? Well, it pulls from a lot of different elements. It's a lot about inherited family histories, the ways in which we remember our family histories, especially family histories that the people who lived them are trying to forget, which is often the case with Holocaust narratives, that the people who experience them sort of bury them, and their descendants, then need to interact with them or find ways to interact with them or remember them even when that's challenging, right? So
Sure.
It's a lot about that, and it also pulls, from this piece, The Deadclass by Tadeusz Kantor, this Polish theater director who first inspired Eliya and Mitchell to create the piece. And a lot of it is based on archival materials as well from Mitchell's family. So like voicemails from his grandparents, like real facts about them. And it's sort of an invented play that pulls from those legacies and also from that theatrical tradition.
That is so beautiful. That gave me like a little goosebumps and a little bit of the feels right there. Because I think of my own family, and no matter what cultural background, well, the heritage of this story is incredibly important, but wherever you are, no matter what you celebrate, family and history and lineage and creating, it's all important. We all can be touched and moved by this. Eliya, how long have you been working on this piece?
Let's see. So we debuted it In 2023. It was really a sort of all hands on deck. We threw it together in a couple of months in May of 2023 at I don't know if you ever went to the Ice Factory Festival at the New Ohio, which was, we felt really lucky. That was a great launching pad, and it's sad that that festival isn't around anymore. So we worked on it then, and then we sort of put it aside, but every once in a while would have different ideas about ways we wanted to push the piece further. And then, so I guess at this point, maybe a year, and it's been gestating for a year and a half, 2-ish years.
Been almost 5 since we had the idea to make it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Mitchell, if it's loosely based on family and there's artifacts of your family in it, what does your family have they seen it? Do they know what's happening? What is it like to have a piece of your personal life up on stage every night?
They have seen it, and it's very strange and surreal and often very challenging and very unlike anything that I've made before. I know Eliya's made work that relates to her life in various ways, but I've never had that experience before. And it's kind of surreal and alienating and but very special as well. And it feels like a way of honoring them and a way of remembering them. And we have actors on stage who are performing voicemails of theirs with earpieces. So they're getting the actual voicemails and they're copying them very precisely. And watching that every night is a really moving thing for me. And we've sort of subtitled the play a seance, or Tadeusz Kantor's play, The Deadclass, was also subtitled a seance. And there's something about seeing these actors kind of channel them every night that is really quite special.
Wow. Oh, Chloe, what's it like to direct yourself? If you co-direct this piece and are in it, tell us a little bit about the other actors, the cast of people that you have in this show.
Yeah, it's complicated to direct yourself, for sure. But that's kind of how we have created a lot of work as a company. I'm often acting and co-directing, so I've kind of gotten used to it. It doesn't really ever get easy in my experience. But Mitchell's a great person to lean on as well. And the other company members are incredible. We have a voiceover cameo from Jim Fletcher, who's this amazing downtown theater actor. And also Pete Simpson is in the cast, formerly the longest standing Blue Man.
R.I.P. Blue Man Group.
And we also have the amazing Juliana Sass, who's a New York-based actor, and Marcus Amaglo, who's a dear friend of mine from my time in London, has flown over from London to perform in the piece and is playing Mitchell's grandma. So yeah.
And the amazing Luke Bosco
as well,
yeah.
Who's absolutely extraordinary. He's also performing. It's a really wonderful ensemble, and I think we all really love creating this work with everyone. It's truly collaborative, and none of these characters would be the same if they were embodied by anyone else. So yeah, we're very much indebted to all of them.
Wow. So the show is up, right? The show is running. So Eliya, what is important about this show? We're talking about a time anti-Semitism is rampant. We are talking about a time where we're crazy political divide, and you're talking about family. And I'm sure, as you brought up, growing up, when I grow up in New Jersey, I think of my friends that are Jewish living in New York, New Jersey, and the West Coast, but in the middle of America and in many places, there's a lot of stigma. Is this a show that deals with some of the issues of the day? What can we say is the message or lesson at the end of the show?
I mean, at some level, I'm hesitant I want people to draw their own conclusions about what the show is saying. I think I thought a lot about when we were making this show, what I can't remember either Mitch or Chloe was saying earlier, when we think about memory, and specifically as it pertains to the Holocaust, I think a lot of the messaging is very heavy on the never forget, which is, of course, really important. But there's also human people that are required to remember the things that we have to not forget. And I think it was really moving to me in making the piece to think about like the burden of memory and what that does to the people who are having to remember it. So I think if I had to say a message of the play, I would say that I think we're trying to interrogate what it means to remember as an individual and remember as a collective, and sort of deconstruct that and put it on stage. It has been really interesting seeing the reactions of people because the play is obviously very abstract and experimental, but I think because it is so grounded in real family history and real love for the people that we're making it for, it's been really hitting people. And I was thinking when you were asking Mitch what it's like to make art about his own family, we got a lot of questions about Mitch's family, but I would say just as often people tell us that the play made them think about their own family, their own grandparents, the lives that those people lived. And it's brought people to think about their own histories. So I feel really proud of that as a takeaway that people are having.
I love that because, like I was saying, when you read the press release, everybody, I was joking about the bear and the violin and all of that, but when you read the press release, it is literally a group of artifacts. Is when you read about it, like artifacts, like photos and verbatim fragments of memoirs and voicemails and memories and secrets and photos, and it's literally like I grew up being obsessed with my grandmother's garage because she had bags of pictures and bags of letters and things that were a part of her story, and they become your family folklore. Mitch, what's it like where'd you find these artifacts and how do you weave it together to tell a story?
Yeah, so I mean, they're the voicemails and photos. A lot the photos are just things that we found, in their home after they died. Some of which were albums that we had looked through a lot, and some of which were photos that we had not seen, that we found in other places that they kept photos that we didn't necessarily even know about. And it was exploring those things that they shared with people and the things that they didn't share with people, and coming to understand them differently through those things that I think inspired a lot of it. But in terms of weaving them together to tell a story, this is very much not a traditional linear narrative story, and we were really resistant to the idea of telling their Holocaust narrative. It's not a traditional kind of legacy Holocaust play. It moves in a very strange, elliptical, repetitive way that we hope is more similar to the way that memory actually works. Like typically when we think about memory plays, we think about plays where we're watching people remember things. And there's a little bit of that in this play, ironically, but the play itself moves in the way that memory moves. And it's very hard to pin it down because it changes before you have understood what it is that you're watching fully, is the hope.
So cool. What an original new way to tell a story that doesn't, fit in the boxes of what we had. Like it just is such a creative new way to put something together. I can only imagine. I want to see the script. I want to see what the notes are, because we look at things like in a very old, grandma said this and grandpa said that, and we tell a story, but you multimedia recreated this in a unique way. Chloe, what's it like? Why the tank? Why was it a big deal to have this up, and what have they been able to offer you all that is the right place to be?
The tank is wonderful. I agree completely with what you said at the top, that, they're really creating a space for emerging artists. They make it financially possible to make new work. They trusted this work, which is very strange and original. We're very proud of it, and they put their weight behind it, which we're really, really grateful for. So thank you to all of them. And we are grateful that we have this wonderful accessible space and this beautiful theater that really feels like it suits the play so well, in which to run this show for 3 weeks. It's our first time as a company running a play for 3 weeks in New York. And it's, it has its trials, and it's like also just really wonderful, even that we just had our second weekend, And we've seen people who learned about the show from their friends and have come, and that's so gratifying. And we've never had that opportunity to sort of build a community in New York, and the Tank is largely responsible for that.
That's so when you said early, that's amazing, and that's why I love it, is because they give you the opportunity to build an audience, and people can now tell their friends. And while we're talking, people, you only have a short period of time to see the show. You only have until the 23rd, so you better grab a ticket and go to the tanknyc.org. Then you can find out about the violin and the bear and the whole thing yourself. And what parts. Eliya, when you talk about this, you said you went to school with Mitchell. So was there other projects? Have you worked on other things together?
Yeah, and Chloe too. We all
and Chloe, you all went to school.
Yeah.
We're all friends now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chloe and Mitch have an incredible repertoire of work that they've done together. I think it's sort of fun when the three of us work together. It's different because it's original work. So in the past, we worked on a play of mine about Monica Lewinsky, which was really fun. We've worked on another play of mine called Dad Don't Read This. In college, we did a joint production of Wojciech and Galileo back when Chloe and I were still acting together. I feel so lucky to have this collaboration. I feel like I learned so much from working with Chloe and Mitch. It's really such a playground. Everyone's trying everything. And I think it's really empowering as a young artist to be around people where, as Chloe and Mitch were both saying at the top, they have 700 jobs, but we just sort of, anytime a barrier comes up, we just figure out how we will get past it. And yeah, I feel like I think this collaboration is very special to me, and we've had so much fun working on the play.
What I love about it is I'm remiss. When I first went to acting school, I remember a good friend of mine who was on Broadway said to me, the people that you're in school with are the people that are going to create projects that you're going to work with, and they're your community, and you're going to create things together. How important, Mitch and Chloe, is it that you've created this community together? But aside from the three of you, the actors you work with, the creative teams you work with, the spaces you work with, how important has that been as creatives?
It's been so important. I mean, we can't think of that many other young people that are still working in kind of an ensemble format. That seems like it's becoming increasingly rare. And even though we don't have like a fixed ensemble, like a lot of our, a lot of big inspirations for us, like Elevator Repair Service or the Wooster Group,
Right.
We've developed really like an artistic community of people who push each other to make more interesting work with each other than we would be able to make individually. Like Eliya's a brilliant writer, and we've had so much fun staging her plays in the past, and Eliya's been in things that we've done in the past, but this is sort of our first time developing something all together from scratch, and it's truly unlike anything that any of us would ever have imagined making individually if one of us were the lead artist on something. And those kinds of collaborations are just, I think, increasingly rare and very special, and we feel very lucky to have this community of artists that kind of feed each other.
I think it's beautiful. I'm excited for people to check it out. I hope people can go out and get their ticket. You better get your tickets before they're all gone, because the run, like we said, it's Deadclass, Ohio. It's running to the 23rd, so you have till the 23rd. And do you all have already? Are you focused and entrenched in this, or is there more things formulating, working, tinkering, playing with? Are you ready? Oh, Chloe's the eyebrows were going, Mitch. I saw it.
There's more. I don't know what we can say or should say now, but there's more. There's lots more Eliya Smith in the future. There's lots more Goat Exchange in the future.
Well, we're excited. We're going to be following, we're going to be watching, and we're going to be ready for the next one in New York City. Or if you're visiting New York City and you want to see new original works, we don't need to see every movie turned into a musical. We need to see some original stuff out here. This is the place to be. This is just the show to see. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. It was nice to meet you.
My pleasure. Yeah. So nice to meet you all.